Well, hello again, Maverick Traders. It's Joe. It's currency recap time. Let's do it. It's the 14th of November, another Thursday. You guys know the drill. Let's jump into the markets. I'm going to be talking about some of the meaningful news of the day. We did get a couple of announcements, and we're going to look at things technically. If we've got some trades to share, we're going to do it.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional Forex and crypto traders. Maverick Currencies is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional Forex and currency trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
Moving into the market analysis, we didn't get a lot of movement except for one. It was the US dollar once again. CPI came out yesterday in line with expectations. The PPI as well today in line. And we also had an unemployment number that was lower than expected. This directly relates, or I should say reinforces, the soft landing expected. And I think that's why the US dollar continued higher with the strength in there. When we see these numbers, the Fed is probably less likely to or I should say cut rates moving forward. So the crypto took a pullback today. Crypto has been pretty amazing since the election results, but the U.S. dollar continued higher. Everything else just kind of sat there. Let's take a look at it. The yen flat, franc flat. I'm seeing a little bit of more of a slide in the Aussie and the Kiwi, but I figured the yen would participate in this, and it is. And it's very specific to the U.S. dollar, although we are seeing a little bit of movement out of some of those risk-on currencies, the Aussie and the yen. Taking a look at how we finished, the S&P down another over 0.5%. World index pretty much down 0.5% as well. Crypto down 1%. It would have been lower except for Litecoin. Litecoin decided to just shoot up 8%. Gold flat, and then a little bounce in oil. Here's what I'm talking about. Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum all down. They've had exuberant, strong runs. We'll take a look at the charts here, but Litecoin decided to move higher. I can't make heads or tails of it, folks. I'm not even going to try. Let's get into our outlook. I moved this down to a +3 from a +2, and the only reason why is because I really want to emphasize that we, at some point, which it appears we're doing now, are going to correct in the U.S. markets. Now, so I'll zoom in a little bit more on the chart and just kind of re-explain that, although yeah, I think you guys get it. It's just this area that I'm thinking we could actually get down to and still be super strong. Volume, you can see, has just slid a little bit lower. It's actually getting a little bit more quiet. Good moving average moves, not even close to this gap yet, but consolidation. I could see us maybe down another day and turn or flatten out, but it's really not giving us much to go off of except for, hey, it's time to correct. Let's go over to our economic calendar, and there's not much out there. It's already kind of passed, and these are the numbers that I think have really pushed on the dollar. Here it is. In line on the core CPI, in line on month over month, in line year over year. And then we come out and we have our PPI that did the exact same thing in line. And I think this was a little bit of just kind of the kicker there. 217K versus 224 expected unemployment claims. This is a stable, very strong, consistent economy right in line with what the FOMC wants. And I believe that's what's kind of adding to the dollar strength. We'll see how long that lasts. But overall, I mean, it's given us a couple of things to look at, pairing obviously with the US dollar. One trade specifically I like, but we'll get there in a second. First off, let's take a look at the currencies individually. The yen flat. It slid a little bit down, about 0.1% there, but it's consolidating on a velocity score wise. This is our 4-hour velocity score, and it's just consolidating. It's a 0. I kind of moved it a little lower, and the reason being is because I see some consolidation here below the 50, a flip in the SAR, and a slight move to the downside. So sideways here on the RSI, more of a sideways move at least today. Let's move to the US dollar. Absolutely +3. It's continuing its run. Taking a look on this on the daily chart, you can see that it's actually broke above some pretty good resistance levels here. A good push to the upside on the RSI. Back to the velocity side of things, folks. I like it as it breaks out. I really do like this candle. In fact, I want to pair it with the yen. We'll get there in a second. +3 there on the US dollar. So let's go to the franc. You can see the franc's flat. It's kind of sideways, meandering a little bit below the 50 on the RSI there. Flip-flopping on the SARS. It's above today. It's flat. I'm just going to kind of stick it at a 0. Also something that you might want to look to pair against the US dollar. Euro, kind of doing the same thing. Not a lot of movement here. It's flat. RSI is flat. Moving average is flat. We're flip-flopping on the SAR there. I didn't really want to do much with the euro, so I kept it as a 0 as well. The pound, I can argue that it's a little stronger, and the reason being is it did kind of have a little bit of a pullback, or I should say a pivot point here on the 4-hour chart, the velocity score. I like the movement on the RSI. It looks like it's threatening that 50, flip-flop on the SAR, but a flat moving average. So I said, you know what, if this is going to continue to move higher, we might get a little bit more of a surge to the upside in the next day or so. So I kept it at +1. Here's the CAD showing some resilience. This is a pullback. I don't like giving negative scores on pullbacks. And the reason being is because it's going to be a little bit stronger. Let's take a look at the daily, and you can see on the daily chart, this is actually broken above an ascending triangle pattern, and it's just running out of steam right now. When charts run out of steam, or I should say movement runs out of steam, it corrects. And so I see a bull pullback on this, and I'm going to keep it there. So a drop here on the RSI, it's still above 50. It looks like it's flipping, but it pulled back to a rising moving average. Even though the SAR flipped to the negative side, I think this consolidates in turn. So I actually had to keep the CAD at a +1. Let's go to the Aussie and the Kiwi. These two are a different story. In fact, the Aussie's starting to slip here. Downward trending average. We've got a SAR that's just been sell for a while, and a flattening RSI. So it was very easy for me just to give this a -2. Kiwi, on the other hand, is a little weaker. And why I see that is we've got that rollover here on the moving average, a flip on the SAR. But take a look at this pattern here. It's threatening some pretty decent support levels. And if that rolls over and breaks with this turn of the RSI below 50, this is a -3 to me. So I'm going to keep it at that point. Let's move through our cryptos. We'll start with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin looks like it's just consolidating here. It was pretty hard for me to give it anything super negative. But if I'm following along with the charts, that's what it is. This is a negative move here. It is a upward trending, flattening moving average, which you can call that 0, -1, and then a flip on the SAR. It is a consolidation after an enormous run, more of a sideways than anything. So I have to actually put Bitcoin pretty much at a 0. Bitcoin Cash, a little bit more of a pullback, but it's still kind of in the same situation. Flattening moving average. We got a flattening RSI. It's toying with the above below the 50, a flip on the SAR. Also going to be a 0. These are just correcting after a huge move. Take a look at Ethereum here. I'm going to keep it in the same place, obviously. Flipped SAR, slightly moving, but it's more correction than anything. So they're all 0, except for Litecoin. Litecoin is going to be a +2. Why? Because it actually broke above this level, retested this moving average, and has moved higher. It's actually back above, pushing above these resistance levels that it set. Pretty much, I guess that would be yesterday. Flipping the SAR, good move to the upside, and a flattening RSI. So I'm going to go ahead and just give that a +2. So this is where we fall on the velocity score for today. Lots of pushing and pulling, right? A little bit of corrective action. Still seeing some weakness over here in the risk on currencies. The Kiwi and the Aussie dollar just sliding lower, but that US dollar is just super strong. Litecoin, once again, hung in there. It's doing great. Seeing Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin, and Ethereum moving down, it's just because of corrective action. That's same with the yen, the euro, and the franc. Not a lot going on. I mean, the main mover is seriously just the US dollar outside of the cryptos. It's been the only consistent one that I like. So let's just take a look at the possible trades. I'm going to take a look at 3. There's one that I actually really like. And guess what, folks? Of course, they're all paired with the US dollar. So the first one I want to give a gander at is going to be the Aussie US dollar. I like the way that this is working itself down. This is on a 4-hour chart. The daily chart looks a little bit extended as it has already broken some support that we saw in August. But the momentum on this trade could carry a little bit. So let's go back to the 4-hour here, and it looks like it's rolling over. I love the SAR. I love the moving average. I love the RSI. A pretty good trade there. If this is a little bit too extended, we can go to the New Zealand dollar. You could say, boy, it's kind of already there as well. Let's go to the daily chart on it. Yep, you could see already breaking support levels. So it's basically taking care of both the risk on currencies at the same time. But the one I do like is the yen, and I still think this has something in it, the US dollar yen. I like it. I like how it's broken up. This is something where you could take a half position, kind of currently where it's at. If you take a look at the daily on this, it seems pretty high, but if I squeeze that down, it is an ascending triangle pattern that is actually pushing higher, and we know it can climb for quite a bit. Moving back to the velocity score, I just like where it falls, where it comes to the RSI's high, the moving averages, and the trend line. It's pretty easy. You could leg into it. You want to get into a little bit here. If it goes up a little bit and starts to correct, see if it can turn and buy some more as it turns. That scaling isn't a bad idea here, but I don't see that it's too far extended. We might see a little bit of a hesitation. So snap your fibs on there, folks, if you want to target. But that's definitely probably the only trade that I'll be looking at least for tomorrow. So in conclusion, guys, it's just more of the US dollar. Well, it just continues to show some strength. We're still seeing some weakening in the Aussie and the Kiwi. I don't know if that's going to continue, but it's kind of neat because if they can continue to diverge, there's going to be opportunities there. Be aware of corrections. You guys saw that some of the cryptocurrencies, when they correct super, super hard. But past that, the main driver, at least in the currency market, seems to be the dollar. So keep an eye on that. Play relative strength and weakness as always, proper position sizing. And if you don't like a trade, folks, you can wait for it to develop for you and then throw a dart when you're ready. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.